And we're live. Hello, and welcome to another part of the Tour de Core series. And Tour de Core is the streaming series where I'm going to take a look at deeper topics of WordPress core development. And in this particular series right now, we are looking into Gutenberg, which is the new editing experience within WordPress. And just to do a quick refresher for everyone that might be joining now or is watching this video later on. This is the fourth part of the series, and I'm going to go over a little bit on what we covered in the previous parts. So let me just go real quick. So in the first part of the series, we took a look at that's not the first one, this is the first one, there we go. So the first one, we took a look at Gutenberg itself. We started to find some of the documentation about it. We read what are the motives behind it and what are some of the core philosophies of Gutenberg. And after reading some documentation, we created the first block. It was very simple, hello world block, and that is pretty much based off the tutorial that's in the Gutenberg handbook, but with the exception that we added one or two customizable settings. So we made it dynamic, editable. Then the second part, we took a look at how to create dynamic blocks and what's the difference between dynamic blocks, how are they rendered on the front end of the site, and we learned that it's kind of similar to shortcodes in terms that you have a PHP function that renders your block as well, in addition to the JavaScript they use for the rendering of the block and the backend. And another cool thing that we learned is how to utilize the REST API within Gutenberg. There's helper functions that make it super easy to interact with it. And we learned some more about attributes. And in last week's series of the Gutenberg walkthrough, we took a look at an actual real life example of converting a Beaver Builder module into a Gutenberg block. So the module was a simple team members block that we use on our current live site, and all it does is it just fetches the post from a custom post type, and it displays some information about our team members. And a great thing that we learned at that point was that you can actually, in some situations, grab your front-end PHP file from your Beaver Builder module and directly paste it, like you reuse it almost completely. The only thing that we had to change at that point was that attributes, settings in the Beaver Builder module, which is an object, becomes attributes in our callback function, which is an associative array. And the last thing that we took a look then was how we can use Gutenberg blocks. I'm getting mixed up with Beaver Builder modules and Gutenberg blocks. We took a look at how Gutenberg blocks can become a replacement for the meta boxes that we're used to using when building stuff with custom post types. And it was fairly easy to do so. There is one big caveat that currently, in order to register meta fields for the API, you kind of have to register them for the whole REST API. Any meta field that you currently register gets attached to all post types instead of being able to remove meta fields from the post types that you don't need them on, or just register them for the post types that you actually need them on. And this is currently being worked on. I think it will get shipped in 5.0 with the update. There was actually a discussion about this particular issue on the Slack channel of WordPress. I think it was in the REST API channel in particular. And yeah, the good thing is it's being worked on. I think it will be fine. Okay, so today what I plan on doing is to take a look at and I forgot to write the agenda today. That's embarrassing. I wrote that like half an hour ago. So we want to look at Gutenberg templates today and how we can use them, at what state they're in currently, and all kind of stuff like that. So the first thing we're going to do, as usual, is pretty much just start looking things up. And come on, Gutenberg. We're going to look at the handbook again, because that's a pretty good place for information currently. I'm sure they're going to work further on it. Right now it's not bad at all. Okay, let's see what we have. So templates right here. We haven't looked at this page yet. Okay, so and you might have seen this already in the WordCamp US State of the Word. There was a live demo where I forgot his name, but one of the main developers behind Gutenberg did a live demo on stage, and one of the things that he presented was how to define templates and how they can be used. Okay, so on the client side we can use default block. That's interesting. Haven't heard of that one. Or we can register them as a default content, kind of say, or layout of blocks for a given post type. Save and assign to pages as page templates. Okay. And they will be the equivalent of the theme hierarchy. That will be interesting to see. So we can define templates in JS or PHP. That's cool. As an array of block types with a block name and optional attributes. That makes sense. Okay, so it's just a simple array with two elements. The first one is the block type and then your attributes. By the way, there's a lot of new subscribers to the channel. Thank you. I hope that the content will be useful for you and will help you transition into getting to know Gutenberg and starting to use it. I do plan on doing a more meta stream where I'm going to share my thoughts about Gutenberg and all of the stuff behind it, like how it's going to transition, how I think it's going to affect developers, potentially agencies, and what's going to happen to things like the third-party space in terms of plugins and themes. So stay tuned for that. Might be next week, not sure yet, but it's definitely going to happen sooner rather than later. Oh, sweet. So you can define the template right and you register post type. That's great. It's a really good place for it. Oh, did they implement locking already? Template lock. Oh, or search all moving. Okay, so it prevents inserting new blocks but allows moving existing ones, or prevents all operations. Perfect. That's great. I love it. Yeah, so right there you have a Gutenberg. You can, with templates, you can just do away with your meta boxes. I'm sure there will be obviously use cases for meta boxes, but this right here, if you have just a basic, basic post type, they have like 10 fields maybe, you just place them right here and you don't need to do anything more. Okay, let's get our hands on some code. So I think a good place to do this is actually for our post type. So as you remember last time, maybe we have our ACF meta box down here, which works great, but then we started adding these right here, which is also great. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to adjust this a little bit, and maybe we're going we can start with just this right here. Okay, so let me get the code back up. Team members, team member information. Oh, just 1 second. There we go. Oops. There we go. And we're going to go back to our plugins, toward the core, and start our watch task. Okay, and so this actually happens inside of So at this point I'm wondering if I should move the custom post type away from there so that it can actually be part of the repository, because right now it's not. Okay, I guess we're going to do exactly this then. Register a custom post type. Okay, let's just do that real quick. So back here, it's starting to get a little big. We might want to break this off into separate files soon. Is that what this was called? No idea. Oops. Okay, so we have our our team members here. Everything's cool. Perhaps let's change this to just team members, and obviously this we're going to change to the core Gutenberg. Yep. It's good to do localization early on because it makes it so much easier. If it's part of your habits to do it for everything you do. Rewrite team. Okay, has archive. Okay, so now let's add our template in. Just like that. And template lock all. Template. Okay. Okay, so right now we're just going to start with template lock all, and we're just going to start with our custom block, and we could find that somewhere up here, down here. There we go, TDC team members. Nope, team member info. Right, I think that's what it was called. Let's see how we register this. Team member information. Okay. And I don't think we have any properties for now, so we're just going to, any attributes, so we're just going to get rid of them. Okay. And I think we are just going to change the sole team. I think we should be able to just disable now our helper plugin in here. Deactivate. And we still have team. We have nothing here, obviously. Let's change this custom field to apply to our team member. Cool. And so now when we add a new team member, we should just see our custom block. Sweet. Which apparently has absolutely nothing for default when you don't have an image, but that's okay. So let's try this out. Hello. Well, that's interesting. We got some error. Yes, we do have an error in that console. Property. Okay. A is not a function. There's not really anything here. Okay, so we have a problem somewhere when we update on position change. Oh, yeah, we probably need to actually have. So that's funny, that didn't used to work before. And we want to bind position. Okay. And actually, I think in this one we still were pointing at P15. Yes, we are. Change this one. Okay. Publish. Reload this. There we go. It's working now. Our image is working too. Sweet. So there you have it, I guess. That's our 15-minute stream for today. No, just kidding. But that was amazingly easy. So once you have your, yeah, look at that. You can't add a new block. Sweet. Yeah, once you have, I don't know if we can get rid of convert to reusable block, because for meta boxes that's not something that we want. Well, once you have your meta box replacement blocks or a single block like in this case, then you're set to go to just set it up on your post type. So that's very cool. Now I really do wonder that it is HTML. I haven't tried this. Apparently we can't do anything. Okay. Officially. Convert to reusable block. We don't want to convert this to a reusable block. How can we get rid of this? Well, it's quite simple. We're going to just look it up. Convert to reusable block. So especially with features like this that are not super well documented, and maybe this is actually documented somewhere. Blocks. Controls. I don't know. But we don't really have a search in here. Dynamic blocks. Reference. Design principles, coding guidelines. CSS. Okay. Yeah. So in case where you're not sure where to find the documentation or something like that, it's pretty much just easier to dive into the source code than trying to Google that. So we have some tests here which we don't care about. Really, I'm trying to find where this particular piece of text is convert to reusable block, which doesn't seem to be. Let's see. So maybe it's just here. Reusable block settings. No, that's something else probably. That converts it to a static. No. No. That's interesting. I would think it would show up here, but apparently it doesn't. Yeah, this right here. Convert to reusable. GitHub doesn't have the best searching capabilities. Okay, well, how about we do something else? We are going to just download the repository, which might take a while. Let's see. In the meantime, where would this be? Unknown components. That's the first I see an unknown component in React Developer Tools. Okay, let's try searching for it in here. Convert to, okay. So it's not a reusable block, really. So we currently don't really have a way to do that, perhaps. Count as 1, and then we render reusable block settings. What is count? block settings menu, it is linked. Yeah, so there might not be a way to prevent blocks, currently at least, from being converted to reusable blocks. So that's a little unfortunate, especially for meta boxes, because you don't need them to be reusable. They are specific to the post that you're working on, and they have absolutely no use, I don't think, to, I mean, obviously you're going to use the same meta box block on other posts from that post type, but the concept of a reusable block is that it's the same wherever you use it. Okay, so let's give up on searching about that. Maybe let's see if there is an issue about that. Should show on the inserter. Okay, anyway, well, that was fairly quick. I don't know if there's anything else that we can take a look in terms of templates. Let me know if you have any questions. I would be happy to take a look real quick, but if not, we're just going to move on and we're going to look at some of the other topics for today. No, I guess nothing. Cool. Okay, we're going to keep going. And on a side note here, I do make incremental upgrades to my setup here. For example, I switched to this front-facing camera so that I can look into your eyes. I'm just kidding. And also I got an actual microphone stand and a pop filter so that, again, I can be closer and the audio can be better. In the first ones, the audio levels were terrible, but hey, I learn as I go. Okay, so the next topic for today that I want to look into is reusing code on the PHP side and the JavaScript side. And it's something that I don't even know if it's possible. And again, we're going to take a look at how it's being done inside of Gutenberg itself. So let's go back to pages. Yeah, that's fine. And our team members page. Oh no. What now? So that's not great. If property large of undefined. Okay. Team members data map. Yeah, so like I said, this was not great. This should still be up here, shouldn't it? Information, get team member. Oh, yeah, because I didn't save it. So, yes, as you can see, you have to actually check stuff. JavaScript in that regard is more touchier than PHP. PHP, you know, it's usually not gonna scream in your face. It is going to give you a warning, and that's gonna go to your error log, but it's not gonna explode like that. So let's fix that real quick. Team members block. Come on. Team members block. Yeah, so if we have an image, So what is the comment in this right now? It's a good question. Let's just do this number. Image is really just a string 0. This is obnoxious. Okay. Image. So I guess a safer thing would be to check if we have a URL at all. And here again we can just take some extra precaution and do it like that. So that should fix our problem now, I believe. Yeah, there we go. Better, much better. Sweet. Okay. What? My browser froze though. Hello, browser. Well, that's interesting. Nah, I just decided to freeze. What in the world? Pause. Ice. Okay, that's fine. I didn't unpause it. So, as we talked before, you currently kind of have to write the same code or potentially the same code if you want your block to look exactly the same on the front end, and in the editor you're gonna kind of have to duplicate your efforts and write the same code twice or very similar code twice. So that's annoying. If you have to change something, you're gonna have to change it in 2 places, and who wants that? So what I'm thinking, and I've done this before, and it might not be the most efficient way, but it kind of works. At least it keeps all of my code into the same place, is to have one PHP file that conditionally either renders the final HTML as it's supposed to be presented to the browser, or it renders a template, a script template. And we can use a templating language and JavaScript, for example. That will be template, the helper function. We can use this, or we can use like mustache or whatever other thing you can use. But first, I want to see how they are doing the HTML block. So the custom HTML, so what we have here is just a block where you can type in some stuff. I wonder how protected that is. I would expect to be able to put scripts tags in the custom HTML block, but maybe they're getting stripped out while in Gutenberg. Or maybe they're not gonna render at all. Huh. Interesting. Did I read that correctly? Script, yeah. I must be doing something wrong, right? Okay. There's gotta be something super silly, isn't it? That shouldn't matter. Alert. Aha, there we go. So the type JavaScript? Really? I didn't expect that. Okay, so we can write scripts in our tag. That's cool. But what I really want to check is how do they deal with actually previewing the block? Are they using dangerously set inner HTML, or or what. And if you're not very familiar with React, it generally doesn't let you like dump raw HTML into it, and you kind of have to use a workaround. Well, it's not a workaround, they've built it into the API, but they tend to say not to use it. Okay. So what we can do is we can look into here and see what we see, and of course this will not connect. Come on. That's interesting. Okay. But React itself really says not to use it. There we go. So here it is, the documentation of React. It's React's replacement for using inner HTML in the browser DOM. And they're saying it's risky because it's easy to expose yourself to XSS attacks. And that makes sense. No, I understand it. But sometimes you're gonna have to use it one or another. So yeah. And it basically looks like this. They initially set inner HTML, and then you pass an object that has underscore underscore HTML, and then your raw HTML in there. So I'm guessing they're probably doing the same thing. And I want to find out. I don't know if it's gonna let me. Let's reload this page. What? There we go. Text area. How about the preview part of it? Yeah, so they're using the dangerously set inner HTML. Okay, so maybe we're gonna be able to use that at all as well. And let's check that out specifically. First of all, let me go back and actually, you know, fill out all of my information so we don't have. Yeah. So we don't have, you know, a blank looking thing. And I'm still gonna use advanced custom fields as meta box for right now. So add some contact details here. And now do the trick. Just a short bio. Okay, so this is now gonna actually display the proper information. At least it should. Come on now. Did it actually not save that meta, or did it override it? I think it overrode it. Ha. Tricky. Yeah, so you definitely don't want to have the same fields. That makes sense. The same fields twice, because it'll not work well. The short bio is not here. Why did that not save? Huh. Oh, come on. Okay. Well, let's just work without it for right now. We should have the other stuff over here though. Yeah, cool. Not even the image? Did the image not save too? No, the image is here. Huh. The image should be showing up though. And team members, data. Image 201. Ooh. Why is it giving me back that thing? Huh. image get viewed member image. Is it not configured to return me an array of information? I would think it would be. Returns value image array. I think there was a third parameter to get viewed member image ID true. Interesting. Format value true. That's strange, for sure. I guess it only shows that we should not trust the data that we're getting. Never trust the data. Come on now. Okay, if we change that to URL, is that gonna update anything or no? No, it's still giving me. So it almost seems like the advanced custom field stuff is now loading on time for this. It's weird because it used to work though. Like last week, it worked fine. Huh. That is weird. Okay, well, let's just do it ourselves, I guess. Oh, I see we have a question in the chat. My favorite IDE or editor for WordPress development? Well, I mean, I'm kind of not really into super heavy IDEs. I know there's a lot of hype about PHP Storm. I haven't tried it yet. We just recently switched from Sublime Text 3 to Visual Studio Code, and you know, I'm using Linux, Ubuntu, but I kind of have to say Windows is doing a fairly decent job with Visual Studio Code. I'm actually very surprised. I am running on the Insider's version though, as you can see up here, because for the longest time they didn't have multiple folders in the workspace, like as the top level directory of your workspace, and they added that first to the Insider's version, so I switched to that, obviously. Other than that though, I've been pretty happy with it. It has, well, by all means, my favorite feature is the integrated terminal. I spend a lot of time in a terminal, well, or at least I use it very often, and just having it right here into the editor is super easy. Obviously, you know, you can out and tap into another terminal, but just being able to quickly see what's going on here and have, like, you know, your build tasks or looking at a log or something like that, just running in here, and you can see it as you're typing and you don't have to wrangle two windows separately. That's great. The extensions, I'm using PHP Intelligence. I tried PHP Intelligence. They're both not great. They definitely have issues still. Sometimes Intelligence will stop working out of a sudden, maybe when I have too many files. Sometimes they don't autocomplete well. They are not super good at finding stuff yet. Like with Sublime Text, we used to use, I can't remember what it was called anymore, but we used to use one that was very good. I'm missing that a little bit, but I've adjusted fine. Integrated debugger, which you can install PHP debug extension to get it to work for PHP. Pretty nice. Sublime Text you had to have an extension for that. Integrated Git source control, meh. I'm not a big fan of it. I prefer using the command line. Different search UI and Sublime Text, it will give you the search results in here, which was nice because it gives you a little bit more context for each of your search result hits. But I kind of like it on the side, especially because of this. Watch. So if I'm looking at a search result, let's say team member name. So team member name. I love this feature. Watch this. So we have in our main PHP file get field team member name. So right here, right, we see that there's 4 results. And now when I change this, I haven't even saved the file yet, and it just takes it out of the search results. So super useful when you're like going through a file and you want to like change something in particular to something else. This is very good. And then, you know, integrated stuff like it shows you status on your files if you're using source control. So it says it's been modified or new or deleted. Well, not deleted obviously, but new files and stuff like that. The build tasks, so you can configure a build task. And so you can define some build tasks here and type show. There's a lot of different stuff, and it just makes it super easy, and then you just press a shortcut and you get right into that, and it just starts spitting stuff out here into another terminal window. So yeah, they've done a really good job. I was surprised to say that, but I'm super happy with that. And they are, you know, it's actually open source. You can see it, you can change it. There's a lot of activity on the GitHub repository, and yeah, it's a good thing, I think. Pretty sweet. Okay. Now to go back to where we were. Thanks for the question, by the way. So if we have an image, then we're going to want to, and let's set this to false in case it decides to start working properly at some point. Data, image, and let's go here with, which one were we using before? Medium or large? Team members block, large. Okay, so let's go with large here as well. And this will now just return a URL. So if we have an image, we're just going to use that. Hopefully that will bring back my image. And I guess really we can just go like this. And something, because it was a 0 before, so we should say if it's empty, then let's really make sure that it's empty. Just an empty string should do the trick. Okay, and let's see. Once we reload, we should get my image back in place. Oh, come on. What are those? Oh, right. Silly me. I forgot that this actually gives us an array. So we want 0 in here. What? There we go. That's a little better. Okay, cool. So is it still showing fine on the front end? Nope. This is probably still trying to, it's also getting the, yes. I don't know what happened to advanced custom fields. That just makes absolutely no sense. Is it because it's registered as a meta field? Oh, maybe it, team member image. Oh, new update to Gutenberg. Cool. No. That is just bizarre. I seriously have no idea. Why I would be doing that? Is it caching stuff? Why? Yeah, that just makes no sense. I must be missing something. Yeah, that just makes no sense whatsoever. Huh. No idea why advanced custom fields stop working properly for the image. Is it no longer an image field? It shouldn't be. It's an image. Okay. Type image. Give me the array. Still nothing. No. Weird. Like, yeah, that just makes no sense. Well, I have no clue. So if we have a memory image, then obviously we're going to do this. And here the more appropriate one is probably escape URL instead of escape attribute. Yeah, that just made no sense. Okay, anyway, let's move on. So as we can see here, we have obviously a difference between the way that it's rendered on the front end and it's rendered on the back end. And what I really want to try to do, and let me just get my code over here. And I'm just doing some cleaning up that I should have done before, obviously. Remember, okay. And then I can just replace this whole thing with something else. Okay. Okay. So gonna get to you in just a second. Blah blah blah. Okay. Yeah, that seems clean enough. Cool. Let's switch this to PHP real quick. Okay, so here's the idea. We have a template file, which we're going to create in just a minute. But we have a template file that just gets included in a function. And in that function, we receive a TMPO data variable or something else. We set up some defaults. So if it's not a JavaScript template, then we're going to expect template data to be an array of different values. So you know, the name, the image, the bio, all that. I'm gonna set up some defaults here, and then we're going to just merge the two together. If it is a JS template though, things look a little bit more different. So we're still gonna have our data array, and we're still gonna have the same keys that we expect in the defaults here. But the difference is that we're going to insert some tags that are specific to our JavaScript template function or engine or whatever it is that we want to call it that we're going to use. And so in this case, for example, the image, if we have an image, then I want to just grab the image as it is. So that's not ideal. We're going to have to adjust that a little bit. Otherwise, we're going to just do, you know, a simple image. And this can be done on the PHP side as well, but it's a good way in which you can actually, you know, showcase that. Actually, I'm missing something here. So if it's JavaScript template, if it's not a JavaScript template. Okay, so I guess we are expecting a full image to come here. Yes, so that's what it is. So that's not ideal again, like I said, but you'll see how it works, and you can decide whether it's something that you would like to use or not. So we're going to have a new folder in here. Includes temp. Can't do that? Okay, fine. Templates. And then here we're going to have our team member PHP, for example. And we'll just copy this over to here. We're going to see, so we have position, short bio, and we can simplify those a little bit, so we can have name, although we are going to, okay, so let's see what the structure is like on our JavaScript side. So we are expecting minimum information, yeah, okay, name, position, short bio, cool, sweet, ID, under information, image, ID, okay. And now here we'll do kind of the same thing. Except for slightly different. So ID is going to be data ID. Position will be data position. And then short bio. Name. And this for our image. And again, this check here can be done on the PHP side so that you can simplify things. And maybe that's worth doing. Okay, so now that we have our team member file, and a thing to remember here, so if it's not, or if it is the JavaScript template, then we're going to render this. We're going to wrap the whole thing inside of the script type text HTML. And otherwise, we're just going to render our div as it is right here. So we can take this out of here. And place this HTML right down here. Okay, and as you can see here, we have some of this logic happening over here, and we're going to move this off of here and into this place right here. And all that we have to do in here now is to just have to echo data image. Okay, and then the same for the name and everywhere else where we have some dynamic data. So name, and again the name. Yeah, so here's another thing. If you're gonna have a lot of conditional statements, this might be a little bit of a pain, but it could work. And you could technically do it here as well, you know. So if we have data image, you know, then our data image is going to be one thing, otherwise it's going to be another thing. So we have a data image, and we are going to use that right here. Data image will be this. Data name. And again here, data image. And this will do that. Otherwise, our data image will be almost the same, except we're going to use this as the source. So this will be get blog info. And obviously, we're writing this in a plugin, and we're referencing files in the theme. That's not ideal. Don't get me wrong. You should probably not be doing that, but it's for demo purposes right now. And obviously, you can just have no image here, but it's nice to have a fallback. Okay, so I think that is good now. So we can get rid of this conditional, this PHP conditional here, and we can do the same thing with the member position. So we're going to make a conditional statement, and we'll just change it to be, so if we have data position, then we are going to render this stuff, otherwise nothing. Well, yeah, there's no otherwise really. Data position, and no else. We don't really care about having a fallback here. Okay, and we can replicate the same thing. So yeah, like I said, if you have a lot of conditional stuff, this is gonna get out of hand quickly. But if you don't, then this might be a good way to do it. Like I said, the main thing that I like about this approach is that, maybe I didn't say that before, I was just thinking it. The main thing that I like about this approach is that it like puts all of your code in one place, so you don't have to go to multiple places to update it. And this could be useful for someone inheriting your code, or it can be confusing. They're gonna be like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Well, yeah. Oh yeah, look at this. This is gonna be, oh, this is gonna be awful. Yeah. Maybe we'll exclude these from our template. It's gonna be interesting how we could technically keep this in here still without making it too obnoxious. And potentially a better a better way to approach this would be to actually get a templating engine. I've heard of Twigs. I really don't know the PHP templating engines that there are out there, but I feel like you could totally replace that. Well, you could. I think you can change. I think you can change what's being used. Template name. I think you can change these tags so that they're not with this, there's something else. Yeah, so obviously a better alternative is actually to just use an actual templating engine for PHP in order to really use the same code on the front end and the back end. This is kind of, pushing it with our fairly simple block here. Okay, so for right now, I'm really going to just get rid of this stuff, and it's just more of a proof of concept, whether it would even work in the first place. And so we want to just change this to be data position. Yep. And then short bio here. Yeah, like that. Now we have to even do this. So data short bio should really be this. Okay. And data short bio. Okay. Okay, so let's change this out like that. And we can have a helper function right here that's going to render a template. So template name, and then what do we call that? Template data. No. Let's change this to not empty. And here, this is the place where you could use, check if the file exists in the theme, like this. So we can do something like TDC and then the template name. And if we don't have a template, then our template will become our includes templates and template name.php. There we go. And here you can sanitize stuff. You should definitely. Can't think of a good sanitization function right now. Okay, and so if we still don't have a template or it doesn't exist, we can just bail. Otherwise, we'll just include our template. So let's see what's going to happen on the front end now. In theory, we shouldn't really see much of a change, I think. Or perhaps I'm going to break this. On 2.13. Okay, 2.13. Yes, of course. Okay, how about now? Oh, I didn't. Yes, I need to actually load the template itself, render template. So in this case, we have team member and our data. Okay. How about now? There we go. Here's our thing. Not working very well. I wonder why that is. PHP 201, really? Oh yeah, because I forgot to actually get. Yes. Let's go back a little bit. Some more. And some more. Okay, there we go. How about that? Much better. Sweet. Okay. I'm pretty sure I had a position. Short bio position. Position. Ooh, right. So if we have a position, it shouldn't be that. It should actually be this stuff. Okay, there we go. So now we're using our template on the front end. Let's start using it on the back end as well. So here's what we need to do. So when we're enqueuing Gutenberg scripts, okay, enqueue block editor assets. Yep, that's when we need it. We want to say effing in the admin footer. Render team members Gutenberg template. And in here we're basically just going to call our render template function with team member and no data. And so what we should see over here, in the source code at least, is template team member. There we go. And so this is our JavaScript template, and this is what we're going to use. That's odd. This is what we're going to try and use to render this stuff. instead of the other stuff. And obviously this is just for a single team member. For example, I passed it. You know, you are going to want to have this stuff in there as well. And again, this is where an actual PHP template and engine comes in handy instead of using, you know, a makeshift sad thing that tries to be like that, but it's not. But again, that's just a proof of concept. So for right now, we're just going to pretty much copy this over manually, and yeah, so that we can have it in here. Oh, and again, the problem with this one is going to be that it's not going to look anything like what it's supposed to look like on the front end. And that's fine for now. Well, it's not great, but it's like that because of, okay, so because the CSS I'm using is really bad, essentially. So do we have a title? Then do this stuff. Oh, and I want to change all of the class equals something to class name. Title. Otherwise, nothing. Okay, get rid of this. And then this is going to come and play over here. Okay. Member ID, right, we're not using ID yet. That's fine. Okay, so we're going to have to read up a little bit about the WP template. And there's this very helpful tutorial from Luke on Everything. It's kind of an old one, but it still holds for the WP template. I'm pretty sure nothing has changed really. So how does it work? Yes, we want to get to the actual JavaScript. So we call WP template with the name of our template without the TMPL part, so without this part. So we'll just call it team member. And we might want to do this right here. So this template equals WP template team member. And since we're going to use a dependency, we should add it onto our list of dependencies. I don't know if it's still here. Utils. It used to be here. Maybe no longer is. Is there even WP utils? Yes. So I think it's here, right? Template. No? Okay, let's look it up real quick. Equals WP util. Okay, so it's WP-util. Script loader. Okay, so it's called WP util. So we can use this in our dependencies. And we could do that for the base one or specifically for our team members block. Okay. So this template is WP template team member, and then pretty much all we have to do here, and watch this. So we're going to have a key. Since we're not using the ID, let's get rid of that. And from here too. the key will be basically just this one. And this just to satisfy React stuff. And then dangerously set inner age. Is that how it's called? I think so. So this is just an object with HTML, and in there we really just have this template. Do we have access to this? We don't have access to this. So we can bind this template, and we're calling it as a function, and we're just passing member information. Get rid of this stuff now. Let's see what happens. And fingers crossed, maybe it works. That's weird. Yes, that makes perfect sense. Actually, that's exactly what we have to see, except for this should be an actual image instead of just a URL. Yes, because we were expecting to get the actual image out of this, didn't we? Team member PHP. Yeah, so what we can do here is do like this. So if we have an image, we're going to do image out data name, oops, data image, and that's it. Otherwise, the source is here. Yeah, that's fine. Otherwise, we're good. Okay, let's reload this, and we should have our image in here. There we go. Again, styling aside, obviously it's not styled as it should. If we do enqueue this for the front end, we'll see there's the in the script. So let's just enqueue that. Wait, oh, I did that in the theme. Yes, I moved that out of the plugin and I put it in the theme. Okay, that's fine. We can just do this in style CSS. Nope. And here. There we go. Just for a moment to see if it would actually work. That's a lot of stuff in here. Let's just put it right here, for example. There we go. And as you can see, once you actually load in your style, then it's pretty much the same thing. And that's it. That's how you can do it. Again, I would really, I saw the struggle in this one. I would really recommend, if you're taking this approach, that you use something like Twigs, and then let's see if the OP util actually has this. So the OP template equals something options. So maybe we cannot change these options really. Are incompatible with PHP with a... Oh, look at that. So we don't even have to... Sweet. So we can just use underscores stuff, and let's see what we have here. Underscore JS template. So they're probably going to use the same thing, aren't they? Not quite, but I think we can change that. There's something then using, okay. Ah, there we go. Okay, If you wish to use this template function, pass data. The settings argument should be a hash containing any template settings that should be overridden. So underscore template settings. Okay, so you could totally change these settings, and you can have it so that it's the exactly same thing, and you can just use, you know, twigs, and you'd be good. And using twigs and WordPress. TwigPress, that's a plugin. Provide simple way for you to use Twig templating engine with a WordPress theme. Okay. So that's not a bad way to look into how we can do that. Okay, but yeah, that would be my recommendation, and I think that might make things easier in terms of, you know, having stuff in the same place. I'm not sure how this would play with something like dynamic blocks where you have to do some JavaScript on the HTML, run some JavaScript on the HTML. It should still work fine, I think. But yeah. Yeah, so there you have it. You can actually use the same code for your front end and back end with a little bit of work to get it up and running. But really, any optimizations that you make will pay off in the long term. Some will pay off sooner, some will pay off later. And you kind of have to figure out if you want to, you know, spend the hour or two that it's going to take you to get set up with Twig. But if you're going to be writing a lot of dynamic blocks that are going to need front end and back end code to render them, I think it's going to be worth it in the long term. And it, you know, you just get used to it, and you're going to have to write your code once, which is great. So yeah, there you have it. Well, I'm not sure how that will work with more advanced things, like for versus, yeah, maybe that wouldn't work so well. For user and users. I feel like you can use that in JavaScript too. Yeah, so it might be fine. Cool. So that was it. To recap today's stream, I think I'm going to wrap up now. It was shorter than 2.5 hours, but that's fine. So today we took a look at how to use templates for post types, and luckily we had this great documentation that taught us exactly how to use templates, and it's super easy. It took like 20 minutes with reading the documentation. So within your register post type call, in your arguments, you just say, hey, here's my template, here's an array. Each template, you say which block you want to use, and you can pass parameters, you know, default values and stuff like that, or not. And you can also say that you want to lock your template down so that it cannot be changed in any way. You cannot add stuff, you cannot delete stuff, or you can make it so that you can move things around. Insert is a little bit of a misleading name, I think, but that's fine. Oh, I guess template lock prevents inserting. Okay, I guess it makes sense now. Yeah, so super easy. Once we did that, when we create a new team member, we're gonna see our custom block right here that serves as a meta box replacement, and we don't have to do anything. We can all go in and add new blocks here or here, and it's just perfect replacement for meta boxes. Really, for your post type that all you need is like a couple of fields, this is the perfect approach. And you can do one block, you can do multiple blocks. It's up to you. I think it's a really good way that they've done it. The other thing that we looked into is how to try and reuse the same code on the front end and the back end for the dynamic blocks that we do. And it kind of works. It's far from ideal, I'm going to tell you that. But essentially what it is we have one template file here, which conditionally either renders a JavaScript template that we then convert to HTML with the help of wp.template, or just renders out the HTML with the values as it should. Again, far from ideal because we're doing a lot of logic duplication right here on the PHP side and then on the JavaScript side as well. But for very simple stuff, this could work. For more complex stuff, you should look into getting set up with Twig or something like that. And we have another question, but yes, we are looking for ways to use the same templates in both PHP and JavaScript. And I was just getting to the point that it's not a good way to the way I've done it. It's far from ideal, and you should probably use Twig or something else. Do you have suggestions on something else? Am I missing something? And yeah, so, but it is possible. That was on the PHP side, and we basically rendered, we just included a file and I did all the logic, and then inside of our block we set ourselves up with WP template, and then we just call it with the members information every time we want to render that particular block. Twig won't work. Why not? Again, I haven't used Twig, so good thing we have someone chiming in. Because it relies on filters a lot. Like, I'm going to copy this over so everyone can see it. Because it relies massively on filters like this stuff. So default and then the default value. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, I guess you would need to find a better PHP template engine that is more in line with what the JavaScript engines look like and what they support. So you're gonna look for something that is compatible in both PHP and JavaScript. And I'm sure there's one that exists out there. I just don't know about it. But you know, right? Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, like for example, you would need something like this but can't you just not use the defaults? Because from their syntax, you know, it seems like it can be as simple as pretty much this. I guess I don't know if JavaScript has for and else, but you know, if you're just using this stuff, or if you're using, is there if else here? Maybe there's no if else. Yeah, maybe there's no if. There has to be an if though. Stunning twigs API. Token parser if. Yeah, so you still have a That's okay. I can wait for you for a couple of minutes to write it out. Yeah, I mean, my thoughts are that if you're using the more simple stuff, you might get away with Twig. But again, I could be wrong. Because really, in JavaScript, you're gonna need something. But then in JavaScript, I think we have to actually. Maybe we don't have to type it. Come on, team member. What if we do? That's probably not gonna work, is it? Yeah, that's true. DevTools to the rescue. If true. Yeah. JavaScript doesn't like that. Okay, well, he says don't wait. Yeah, so that's about it. You can definitely look into it further, but the important thing is this is a proof of concept. Yes, it can be done. Although you're gonna have to invest some time to get something that works very well. Oh, come on. Yes. You're gonna have to invest a little bit of time to get something that actually works for PHP and JavaScript and it works well. But it is possible, which is the main thing. Because that was a big, that was a big bummer for me when we got to dynamic blocks and I was all like, we're gonna have to duplicate the code on the JSX side and the PHP side. That's not ideal. But then of course you don't have to do it one-to-one with what it's going to look like on the front end, but I feel like more and more people are going to expect that, especially if you integrate with a theme or something like that. So yeah, well, those are my thoughts for today. Thanks for everyone for joining tonight, and the video will be up in a little bit. It automatically uploads, so you can rewatch it if you just missed it. Yeah, I will see you next Thursday on January 18th, that is. I would like to get some ideas about more topics that I can look into. If not, I might just do a meta stream where I'm going to talk about my thoughts and my opinions of Gutenberg and how it's going to affect people and what kind of effect it might have on the community. Just share my thoughts. There's been a lot of blog posts going on. Some people are going a little crazy, which I mean, it's fine. I understand that. But some people are very worried about how it's going to affect people, how it's going to break people's sites. I don't have that kind of a big worry about this, but then again, we've only done like a very few sites in the last year or two for customers, so obviously we're gonna have it much easier than other people. Well, that was about it. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you next Thursday. Have a good one. Tour the Core out.